My name is Jessica. I was 22 years old when I learned how easily purity can be used against you. I did not lose my body that day, but I lost something just as quiet and deep. I lived in a small rented room behind a shop. The walls were thin, the floor was cold. I did not know then that this place would change how I saw kindness forever. I had come to the city with one small bag and a clean heart. People used to say I was innocent. I believed it was a good thing. I would only realize the truth later. My parents died when I was young. I grew up with relatives who had little to give. I learned to be grateful for small things. A plate of food, a place to sleep, a kind word. I worked wherever I could. I cleaned houses, I washed plates, I wiped tables at night. My hands were always tired, my back always hurt. Still, I kept going. Every morning I woke before the sun. I boiled water, I drank weak coffee. I looked at my face in a small mirror and told myself to be strong. That was not the hardest part. The hardest part was feeling unseen. One evening, rain fell hard on the street. I stood under a small roof waiting for it to stop. That was when I met him. He was an old man. His hair was thin and gray. His clothes were clean but old. He walked slowly with a cane. When he looked at me, his eyes were calm. "You look cold," he said. I nodded. I did not know what to say. He offered me an umbrella. I said thank you. It felt warm to be noticed. His name was Mr. Samuel. He owned the shop where I rented my room. I did not know that then. He asked about my work. I told him. He listened. He did not interrupt. That felt rare. "You are a good girl," he said softly. "I can see it." Those words stayed with me. After that day, we met often. Sometimes in the hallway, sometimes near the shop. He always asked if I had eaten. He always smiled. I began to trust him. I did not understand it then. One night, he knocked on my door. My heart jumped. "I have extra food," he said. "I don't want it to waste." I hesitated. Then I opened the door. He sat on the chair. I stood near the window. We ate in silence. The rice was warm. The soup was thick. My body relaxed. "Do you live alone?" he asked. "Yes," I said. He nodded slowly. "That is hard for a young woman." I did not reply. After that, he brought food often. Sometimes fruit, sometimes bread, sometimes money for rent. "You don't have to pay now," he said. "You can pay later." I felt relief. I felt shame, both at the same time. I told myself this was kindness. Weeks passed, then months. I stopped worrying about rent. I stopped counting coins. My life felt lighter. But something else grew. His visits became longer. His questions became deeper. "Why are you still pure?" he asked one night. I froze. My face burned. "I choose to be," I said. He smiled. "That is rare. Men like pure girls." I did not like how that sounded, but I stayed silent. Silence became my habit. He began to sit closer. His hand sometimes touched my arm, light, quick, like an accident. I told myself it meant nothing. That was not the hardest part. One evening, he did not bring food. He brought a paper. "I need you to sign this," he said. It was about rent. About debt. The numbers were big, bigger than I expected. "I thought you said I could pay later," I whispered. He leaned back. "Later has come." My hands shook. "I don't have this money." He looked at me for a long time. "There are other ways to repay," he said. The room felt small. The air felt heavy. "I don't understand," I said. He smiled again, but it was not warm. "You are pure," he said. "That has value." My stomach turned. I stood up. My legs felt weak. "I can find another job. I can pay slowly." He shook his head. "You owe me now." Silence filled the room. I could hear my breath, fast, loud. I realized then that his kindness had a price. I had just been too poor to see it. He stood up and moved closer. I stepped back. "Please," I said, "I am not that kind of girl." He laughed softly. "You think purity protects you?" That question stayed with me for a long time. I did not scream. I did not run. I froze. But something inside me woke up. I looked at him and said, "No." It was a small word, but it felt big. His face changed. "You are ungrateful." He turned away. "You have 1 week." Then he left. I sat on the floor for a long time. My body shook. My eyes burned. I had nothing. No savings, no family, no protection. But I still had my body and my voice. That night, I did not sleep. The next day, I went to work. I scrubbed floors, I washed dishes. My hands moved, but my mind was far away. I kept hearing his words, "You owe me. You are pure." I asked myself a quiet question. Why did my innocence make me weaker? I did not understand it then. On the 4th day, I packed my bag. It was light, always had been. I left the room before sunrise. I did not say goodbye. I slept in a shared room with other women. The bed was hard. The air smelled of soap and sweat. Still, I felt safer. I found more work, longer hours, less rest, but no debt. Months passed again. One day I saw him on the street. He walked slower now. His back was bent. He looked at me. His eyes were sharp. "You could have had an easy life," he said. I looked at him and answered, "Easy for who?" He said nothing. I walked away. Later, I sat by a window in a small cafe. Rain fell softly outside. I held a warm cup in my hands. I thought about purity, about poverty, about how easily need can be used as a chain. I did not lose my virginity, but I lost the belief that kindness is always free. That was the turning moment. I learned to ask questions. I learned to say no sooner. I learned to trust slowly. I am still Jessica. I am still poor, but I am not silent anymore. At night, when I lie down, I think of a small candle. It burns quietly. It is easy to blow out, but if you protect it, even a small flame can light a dark room.